Am I wrong for breaking up with my girlfriend because she changed her look to resemble my dead wife? I, 35 male, was married to Laura for 7 years. We have a son who is 10 now. She was the light of my life. When we were both 28, we found out she had a rare form of cancer. She passed away 5 months later. This crushed me and I was left drowning in my grief for a long time afterwards. My son and I have been attending therapy weekly ever since. It's been tough, but I feel like we've made a lot of progress. I didn't feel up to another relationship for a while. I filled my time with hobbies, friends, and spending time with my son and family. Then, a little over a year ago, I met Kayla, 33 female, at a work event. We share a hobby that's pretty niche where I live, so we had a great time chatting about it. Eventually, we began to go out together. She's great, but different from my wife. I love her for who she is as an individual. I was hesitant at first, but after speaking with my therapist, I decided to try for a committed relationship if we took it slow. At first, she was amazing. I told her about my past and that my son comes first even before our first official date. She was very compassionate and understanding about everything. After a few months of smooth sailing, I decided to introduce her to my son and they got along great as well. For the first time after Laura's death, I could start to see a possible future with someone else. Everything started to go downhill around 4 months ago. She seemed to be a bit more distant than usual, so I sat down with her one night to ask her what was wrong. She teared up a bit and confessed that she felt like I had been neglecting her lately. She said that she feels like I'm using her as some replacement for my dead wife. This came as a total shock. A part of me will always love Laura, but I didn't feel like I was ignoring Kayla or anything. I asked for some specific examples, but she didn't say much afterwards. I felt guilty that I made her upset, so I ended up apologizing and arranged for us to have a few more date nights, and she seemed happy again. Then, a couple of weeks later, she had to go to a cousin's wedding. I couldn't attend because of work, but she was only gone for a day. When she got back, I asked for some pictures, but she just said that there hadn't been any of her. I thought it was a bit strange, but didn't pry. Then the next day, a coworker of mine showed me one off of a private page on Facebook. I was a bit shocked to see an expensive pair of my wife's earrings on Kayla. In my son's room, there was a small cupboard with pictures of him and his mom, letters from her, and some of her prized jewelry. I checked it as soon as I came home, and the earrings were returned to the cupboard, but in a different spot. I confronted her and she got mad, yelling at me for assuming she'd be so careless as to lose or damage the earrings. I told her I was just hurt she'd go behind my back and take something with sentimental value, even if they were beautiful. She eventually broke down and apologized, and after a serious talk about boundaries, we moved on. Things improved for a while before her strange behavior started. It began with her changing her hair color to match my wife's. My wife had naturally light blonde hair that a lot of women dye their hair to today, so while I thought it was strange, I wrote it off as a beauty choice. Then she began regularly straightening her hair. She has wavy hair and my wife's hair was pinned straight. She also started to change her clothes to be more like my wife's. She also had her ears double pierced and got a cartilage piercing like my wife. This was all incredibly unnerving, but she just said I was crazy. I'd asked my family and they said I was nuts too, so I ignored it. Then she brought up having my son call her mama. I said I wasn't a huge fan of the idea, but if my son wanted it, I suppose it'd be fine. She went on a whole rant about how it was different because he called his wife mommy, so it's not like she's stealing a title. He said no, and she was a bit cold to both of us for days. She seemed like a totally different woman than the one I fell in love with. Everyone around me just said I was probably nervous since it's my first relationship after Laura's death. The final straw was when she got a tattoo that was almost the exact same as my wife's. It was in the same spot, same color, just with a slightly different design. That was my final straw. I sat her down and confronted her a week ago with everything. At first she denied it, but then broke down into tears and said I never loved her. She said she felt that she had to live up to the memory of a ghost. This upset me because I had asked her before what I did specifically and she wouldn't discuss it. Plus she was the only one being weird and copying Laura. She kept sobbing and saying I didn't love her. I got so sick of it, I yelled at her saying that if she felt so unloved, we should break up. I honestly do like her, but I've seen how miserable she has been lately and I don't think this relationship is good for her mental health. She got dead silent and just left and drove away. I was just so tired of everything. Later that night, she tried to commit suicide with pills and barely survived. She has no living family, so I was listed as her emergency contact. She wrote a long letter to me saying she loves me so much, but obviously I don't feel the same, and that maybe if she was dead too, I'd love her even a fraction of how much I loved my dead wife. I'm distraught over this. She's been so strange lately, but before all of this, I really did love her. My mom and siblings kept on saying that I'm awful for pushing her to this point, and that instead of ending it, I should have doubled down and reassuring my love for her. They all got along great with her and had been hinting that they wanted us to get married so my son would have a mother again and possibly some siblings. I didn't think I was the asshole, but my whole family is being cold to me and I have no idea what to do. They're saying I should go revisit as soon as possible and support her with this to rekindle our relationship. I'm not sure if I want to do that. She's so unhappy with me and seems obsessed over my dead wife. I keep on thinking over this and wondering if I should have reassured her of my love again or broken up with her in a more tactful way. So, am I the asshole?
30-something-year-old female goes to work complaining of having heartburn, palpitations, shortness of breath, and just pain. That she's a mom, so she goes to work anyways because she's got to support her family. And work gives her all kinds of crap because she almost passes out. She goes on for months, years even, having all sorts of symptoms. From pain, to lethargy, to weird stool, to all sorts of stuff. But most prominently for her was epigastric pain. I got to work with her and tell her every single time that I worked with her, hey dude, you should go to the doctor. That doesn't sound good. Every time she came to work, she looked more and more stressed out and more sick. And every time she went to the doctor told her, you're too young for anything serious. It's probably just heartburn or anxiety. Fucking love anxiety, right? She confided in me and told me all of the things that were stressing her out. And I told her, you know, your life's pretty stressful, but it's probably not just stress if you've got all these other things like actual cardiac issues going on. You should probably go see a doctor. Which I expected her to say, no, I can't because I have all of these kids and a family and all sorts of things to do. But she actually did see a doctor. In fact, she saw not just her primary care doctor, but another primary care doctor and a specialist and another specialist. And they all told her she just has anxiety. One of many people that I've worked with, by the way, in the last couple of years who've all just had anxiety because of work that they do in a hospital setting. And instead of listening to our own and taking what they're saying for fact, all of these doctors told her, just go home. You're fine. You're just stressed. Try and do some self-care like taking a bath or change your diet. She was a mom of 4 kids and had tons of responsibilities. She didn't have time to do any of that fun stuff. After years and years of just struggling through life that didn't listen to her, this beautiful woman died yesterday from stomach cancer. Stage 4 stomach cancer that nobody believed that she had. Not her doctors, not her friends, not her bosses, not anybody. A young woman, mother of 4, died from stomach cancer because nobody fucking listened. I'm so sick of young people dying for preventable things. Why can't people just listen when we say something is wrong? Healthcare providers, if you have a patient tell you that something is wrong and they don't feel good and it's not just anxiety, please listen to your patients. For the love of God, please just listen to them. Order the scans that seem maybe like they will return something or maybe they won't. What is the harm of just making sure that a mom can go back to her kids? Had anybody taken the time to just do the tests when she said things weren't right? Had anybody just listened to her? It could have been different. And instead there are kids without a mom now because people didn't listen. This is just my friend who had stomach cancer, not the one who had a brain tumor that made her skull almost fracture and open up, not the one who also had 4 kids and a different brain tumor that was so fast growing they couldn't medicate her properly, so she died in unbearable pain. Not the one who had breast cancer at like 18 years old, who died before she was even 25. There are so many of us. There are so many. I hate that I work in a broken system that doesn't listen to people. And I don't know how to fix it. All we can do is listen and believe one another. And it doesn't seem like anybody's doing that. Nobody believes anybody when they say they're in pain anymore. Nobody believes anybody when they say they're tired and they can't. And then they're surprised when people go home and don't come back the next day. What a broken system. And what a shitty world that I am so concerned about posting this because I don't want people to think that I'm too mentally unstable because I have feelings and I'm crying about my friends dying. What a fucked up world. What world is this? This is not why I got into nursing. Not to see my friends die. Not to see people fall through the cracks. And to see all the weaknesses. I swear that's why we all get into it. And the other side, where people are so frustrated with healthcare workers and so mad at all of us because we're not listening and we're not doing enough. Walking that line between being the patient and knowing that they don't listen to me, that my son is autistic, or that my friends have cancer, or that endometriosis is a real thing, and it's not just in our heads. And then also being the healthcare provider that everybody loathes because we aren't doing enough and we're stretched so thin we can't possibly. Maybe that's why we don't do these tests and listen to our patients, because we can't possibly do any more. Something has to change. I'm going to nurse practitioner school hoping that I can do something and make something better somewhere. And be the people that listen to our patients and fix these problems. But god damn it, I know the system is so broken. I don't even know if I want to try.
Let's talk about why I hate my own culture. Alright, I am not gonna disclose what culture I am because I am that ashamed of it and I don't want anyone finding out about it because it really just shames me and I didn't want to talk about it ever, but like it really makes me sad and mad. A lot of people from my culture are clearly proud of us, of like what has become, but I just want to tell you about some cultural traditions that we are meant to follow that I personally don't agree with, but I don't have a choice. Alright, so personally, one of the most infuriating things about the culture that I have is not that like there are certain traditions that we have to follow, but it's the fact that if you're not going to follow them, you're obviously going to get hated on. And I feel like it's very common for any culture to have that like biggest kind of taboo, I guess, but it's like we live in the 1900s while not acting like we do, but we actually do. Just to be clear, separation of church and state has been announced, but in our country and our culture, the thing is, nothing is really not allowed. Like, we're allowed to do whatever Muslim people are not allowed to do as long as we stay within our cultural boundaries. So our culture weighs more than our religion does, which in my opinion is kind of stupid. What do you mean I can do whatever the heck I want even though it's not allowed to in our religious book, but I'm not allowed to do some basic things that are culturally considered a taboo? Like, the open-mindedness of our culture is non-existent, which really bugs the heck out of me the most because we live like it's the 1300s. We get married at 16, 17, and if we don't, then there's something wrong with us. I am 19, for example, and I am not married, thank God, and the reason for that is because I just got into a good university and I just got lucky because my parents were willing to sacrifice extra 2 years from my life to give me education. And as a reference, I want to become a doctor, so I have no want whatsoever to marry. Even though I don't have the want to get married just yet, it's not in my power because in our society, it does not matter what the girl has to say because she's just a placeholder. She doesn't matter. It's like if you were born a girl, that's it. Like, it's over for you just because you don't matter. And I'm being dead ass right now. Men are worshipped more than women because of, I don't know what reason it is. I think like they think of war times, like men used to serve in the army and women used to stay home. I don't know. But clearly it's a huge disappointment if you're a girl. As a girl, you're expected to know how to cook, how to clean, know that you will have to pop a baby out 9 months from the time that you got married, exactly, or else there is something wrong with you and rumors start to spread about your infertility issue. You know, if I really wanted to, I could write a book about how unfair the system of my culture is set. When your own mother says that your place is in the kitchen, what are you doing in a university? You know you have a problem. And this is no shade, no tea to people that are actually, like, you know, invested in the culture, love the culture. I personally don't, and these are just things that I don't agree with as a person, as a human being. I'm a human being. I'm not something that you could toss around. It's so weird. Like, the amount of women that I know that have been forced into getting married is insane. You thought that Andrew Tate was bad. Try being me for a day. Try it. Try being in my culture for a day. I hope you get that that was Michaela's reference. But still, try to be in my shoes for a day. I beg you. You would see the amount of unfair treatment that women get in my culture that I'm absolutely disgusted by. The funny part is, women do not care about that. They do not care. Like elder women, they will put young girls down, being like, this is your place, stay there. And if you dare get up, there's something wrong with you again. Mind you, I have grown up both in the country that my parents were from originally and here, and I've actually spent more time back there than I spent time here. It's like in that one Taylor Swift song, would I get there quicker if I was a man? Like, that is all you need to know. It's not only about gender inequality, because obviously we have huge issues with that. It's more or less about like the mentality of the entire like culture and whatever. And it seems that by generations we are not gonna get any better, because I see people that are my age and they have the same exact mentality as their parents. I don't know why that is. I don't know where it comes from. I don't want to be this like, and maybe it's just me, obviously you get to have your own opinion. I don't want to be this submissive wife, but it's like the culture doesn't give you a choice whether you want to become something or not. You will become that. Obviously and clearly there are people that are like, yeah, I love like our system, I love how it works, so look at that. But it's like, you never think about your future and what is ought to happen to you as a woman. I don't know, it's like so weird. Schooling, getting an education, non-existent. People will make fun of you if you say that you would rather get your education in 4 years than start working right now, if that makes sense. What happens to us after we reach our life dreams of buying a cheap car and doing Uber or whatever that you want to do, which is great. You know what? It's great. Nothing. You get a wife, you get kids, and that's your life. Are more fucked up things that my culture basically lets happen just because it's my culture. And it really pains me to be talking about this, to be talking about my own culture in such a negative light. But there is not one thing that I love about my culture. And I wish I was lying. When I tell you I would rather die than be reborn into my culture, I mean it.
Hey babe, was I wrong for how I moved at this girl's birthday dinner? So I get invited via my homegirl to go to this girl's dinner. I don't know her like that. I think I met her once through my homegirl a while ago. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go because you're inviting me. So I go, I get the girl a little gift or whatever. When I pull up, the first thing I realize is, first of all, everybody's on time. And second of all, a lot of people showed up for this girl's birthday dinner. It was over 12 people. Probably over 15. I've never seen this many people at a birthday dinner at a restaurant in my life. As the night's going, people are buying their drinks and things like that. But what I started noticing is people's orders. I'm a very observant person, so I started noticing people's orders. And they was ordering 2 and 3 appetizers, 3 and 4 drinks, the best, biggest T-bone steaks with the gold on it, and this, and truffle fries, and this, and this. Everybody was doing their thing. So something, I don't know what it was, at a certain point of the night after, people was, finishing up their plates and ordering their last drinks and stuff like that, I had to go to the bathroom, but something hit me on my way to the bathroom, like, just stop and pay for your meal. Just stop by the bar, pay for your meal, tip out, do that. That's what I did. So by the time I go to the bathroom, pay for my bill, tip out and stuff like that, the waiter is coming around to the table wanting to know how we're going to do the bill, because the bill can only get split 2 ways. And he made that very clear. The bill can only get split 2 ways. So the girl looks down at the other end of the table where we're sitting, and she says, oh, well, 2 of the guests, they can put it on their card and everybody can cash app them. And they can deal with the bill because I'm not worried about that. I'm the birthday girl. I heard it, but everybody around at the table act like they didn't. And I was completely not worried because, again, my bill is paid for, tipped and everything. I'm just kind of waiting on my homegirl. So after time has gone past, nobody's putting up the card. Nobody is nobody even touched the check, right? So finally, a dude that was there, he opened it being funny, and it was over $3,500. That's how much the bill was. It was over $3,500. When he said that, I just busted out laughing. I don't know why I find it to be so funny. I think it's because I knew it was about to be a shit show. So the person comes back around and notices that nobody's touching the bill, and it's like, hey, what are we doing about the bill? So she looks down towards our end again, which I don't know why she kept looking down towards our end. So finally she's like, all right, well, who's gonna put down on the bill? So I don't say nothing. My homegirl, she don't say nothing. And then so finally another girl in the group was like, well, my homegirl, well, can we put it on your card and, everybody just pay you back? My homegirl, she say no. Like, no, I'm not really comfortable with that. Da, 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 da. So things are starting to get heated now. There's a back and forth going between the restaurant, who's going to be paying, things like that. A lot of people are getting frustrated. Things are getting heated. So what do? I say, I'm going to excuse myself. Because first of all, I'm not about to be sitting in a food restaurant public setting and embarrass myself because y'all don't have y'all shit together, right? I don't do that. I don't play that. My shit is already taken care of. My bill is taken care of, tipped out, tipped beautifully. My bill came up to $100, and I'll never forget, it was $115 without tip, right? So I was like, I'm going to excuse myself. Get up, leave, call the Uber and all. My homegirl, because this is her friend, so she's staying trying to, figure things out and stuff like that, arguing, things like that with people. I'm not doing that. So I excuse myself and I leave because y'all need to figure this out. As I'm getting up to leave, well, what are you doing? Well, how are you leaving? You need to help pay for this bill, things like that. The waiter, before I could even say that, the waiter's like, his bill's already taken care of. He took, he paid his bill and tipped out almost 45 minutes ago. Everybody's shocked, looking like I'm hitting the door by now. I'm gone. I'm out. I get by the time I get home, about an hour, I would say later, I get a long text message from my homegirl. I think that it was real rude what you did at my homegirl's birthday dinner. I don't know where that type of etiquette came from. Da, 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 da. I texted her back a simple IDC.
Fiance told me I wouldn't be able to pull anyone else, and I'm offended. Originally posted November 2nd, 2023, and you know what that means? We have an update. Me and my fiance have been together for almost 5 years, engaged for 6 months. We've never had issues where one of us was mad for a long time until this, and he, my mom, and friends think that I'm overreacting. I had a dream some nights ago that I ended up dating a famous actor by accident. We've both had dreams where crazy things happened and told each other about it. I told him in the morning and we laughed about it. However, he made a comment about how my dreams are always extremely delusional. I asked him to elaborate, thinking it would be something funny, and instead was met with a comment about how I wouldn't be capable of pulling someone half as attractive as said actor, let alone him. I was taken aback, and he doubled down and told me to be realistic, that most men wouldn't even look my way because I look like I'm already taken, and stopped looking interesting some time ago, and now even more with the engagement. I told him that I don't want any men to look my way, but the implication of his words hurt me. He told me it was irrelevant because we're together, and I wouldn't leave him. And to stop being offended over something, I asked and left. For the record, my weight, hair, and general appearance have stayed the same, and I'm low-key high maintenance, so this isn't me letting go or something. I called my mom for reassurance, and she agreed that I was overreacting. I called my friends for the same purpose and was met with the same response. I feel very hurt because I love my fiancé and find him very attractive, and I know other people do too. I am grateful that he chose to be with me, and that makes me value him even more. I thought he thought the same about me, but apparently he thinks I wouldn't ever leave him because I can't pull anybody. That somehow is making me feel like he doesn't value me as I do. And worst of all, that I may be wrong for how I feel but can't control it. Am I overreacting? If so, how can I manage this so it doesn't affect us long term? It's been almost a week and he is still being short with me because you look like you're miserable about a petty thing. I just want things to go back to normal. Edit to add, the actor was Adam Driver. I've had a few DMs asking about this in case it's relevant. Edited to add to, my closest friend group is a 4-girls group where I'm the only one with a relationship that has been in one. Another detail someone messaged me to include. I do have other friends, but I haven't told them anything given the response I got from my closest circle. Finally, I have a long history of being super sensitive. I've cried over minor things my whole life, which is why it is not surprising for my closest ones to immediately call me out on it. I'm on therapy addressing that, my pushover nature, and my self-esteem issues. Thank you to everyone that has commented and given me support and reassurance. I will be forcing him to talk to me today to see if this is any way salvageable or if I just lost half a decade of my life. LOL. Okay, update. December 24th, 2023. Christmas Eve. Hi everyone, I've been getting messages regarding my previous post and also people asking how I'm doing. I'm doing good, and I would like to thank everyone who took the time to comment, reassure me, and even share resources for me. The too long don't read is that I'm going into the holidays as a single woman. Did try to talk it out and solve it like adults, but my ex was uncooperative and childish to say the least. For those of you who want the details, here goes. First, you gave me the courage to reach out to my other friends outside my closest circle, and they were shocked by what happened and told me not to brush it off. They echoed many of your comments and even called it negging too. Also, my therapist backed up my feelings and said I needed a straight up chat with my partner and to set some clear boundaries and decide what's best for me and what I wish to enforce as my non-negotiables. Heck yeah. Second, I did follow someone's advice and started going out more with my supportive friends. My birthday actually fell in between these dates, and I decided to celebrate it by bar hopping in my city, and it went great. My ex was invited, we were still together at that point, and was sulking the whole time because I did get external attention, which I shut down. Finally, what happened with my now ex? After talking with my therapist, I did explain my feelings to him again and reiterated that those comments will not be tolerated if we were to continue in the relationship. I also said we needed counseling as a couple because this could stem from insecurities from both sides. He did not apologize, but rather justified his actions under 3 arguments. And yes, these came from a 28-year-old man. I do look less interesting, and it's unfair to use my birthday as an example of me attracting anyone because I was catfishing as a younger woman, as the girls I invited are mostly 22 to 24. Adam Driver, the actor I dreamt about, is taller than him. We're both 5'7", and he is insecure about it, so dreaming with people taller than him is disrespectful and emasculating. Even if, his words, I'm objectively attractive, ever since I started therapy, I became cocky and more demanding, so he took the chance to bring me back to earth. All of this was a shock to me. I felt as if the man I was with for the last 5 years was not there anymore. This was a complete 180 from what he was before, and I do believe it is a mix of slipping off the mask after the engagement and the fact that he changed jobs to a male-dominated corporation, and those new friends did give me a weird vibe regarding their stance on women and equality. Regardless of what prompted this change, I ended it. I returned the ring, packed a bag with my essentials that I had at his place, and left while he threw a tantrum. He was super uncooperative in returning some of my remaining stuff. He sent things in trash bags full of glitter and won't let me enter his apartment anymore. He also sent me all of the Star Wars movies with Adam Driver in them broken and destroyed, LOL. This made all of the pain I felt almost immediately disappear, which feels weird because I did love him and it was a long relationship, yet I grieved for like a week only. I did count my losses and just accepted some things I won't get back, blocked him, and haven't heard or seen him since. Thank God it's a big city. My immediate circle of friends was cut off as they valued more going to a wedding than my well-being. I'm low contact with my mom and am being supported by my dad and siblings. I've continued therapy, did a Friendsgiving celebration, and I'm bracing myself for the holidays with my family. I'm mostly okay, relearning to be on my own, to validate my feelings, and currently debating whether to send a thank you card to Adam Driver. Thanks everyone for reading. Happy holidays.
Yeah, so the whole 10-year-old drunk elephant Sephora thing, it's real. I went to the Sephora in Scottsdale Corner the other day because I was out of concealer. There was like 6 10-year-old girls. One of them's mom. These girls are all screaming at each other, arguing over who gets the last Sol de Janeiro kit. The mom is just standing there. And I look down at their baskets. Each one of them, mind you, has a basket in their hand. They are all filled with drunk elephant products. And you have to wonder, like, is it the one girl's mom that's paying for it all? They all just have, like, insane allowances. Not to mention these girls, every single one of them adorned in Lululemon head to toe, all with Kendra Scott necklaces. dresses, Apple Watches. Bro, when I was 10, I was still playing with play makeup and Barbies and prepping for a 4-year-long awkward stage that these girls are skipping. And honestly, pop off to them, no hate. I wish I could have skipped my awkward stage, but the reason that I noticed them in the first place was 2 of them shoved past me so hard I genuinely almost face planted in the middle of a Sephora. I looked up and the mom saw the whole thing. She literally like just did not care. But yeah. My theory is they have a secret plan to overthrow us and take over the world, and their Range Rover moms are behind it. No hate to the drunk elephant 10-year-olds, but just to be safe, in case I'm right, stay safe out there.